For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so he who believes in him might not perish, but might have eternal life. This is one of the most known verses in the Bible, and especially when you talk about people from other denominations, they use this to justify what they want to tell you. But it's true that what we are celebrating today is in the center of our faith, the cross, which is a bad thing, which is a humiliation. The Lord died on the cross, but the Lord used the cross to save us. He defeated death. He defeated the sin and gave us the most beautiful and the most important gift for us, the being sons of God, daughters of God. Because of the cross, we are saved. That's why we use the cross for our prayers at the beginning of our day, before we share meals, before we pray. But unfortunately, sometimes we are like the people of Israel. We forget we came from. We forgot that we need to follow Jesus' example. We need to follow his humble example to serve and to give our life to others. So today, as I said at the beginning, I would like to share with you how the missionaries who went to Madagascar, how they share this reality of the cross to a people who didn't know anything about Christ. And I'm going to talk about the church in Madagascar and share some of the reality. And hopefully it will help you to know more about the needs of the local church in Madagascar. It is an impoverished church, and I'm here to ask for your help and support for its missions. I'm sure you have heard of Madagascar before. Huh? Especially when the movie came out, it was easier to talk about Madagascar. But I'm here to talk about something more realistic than a Disney movie. Madagascar is a big island. It's the fourth biggest island in the world. It's about the size of the state of Texas. And it is located in the Indian Ocean, about 250 miles off the southeastern coast of Africa. Madagascar is known as a sanctuary of nature because we have a lot of unique plants and animal species which are found nowhere else in the world. If you like orchids, you should go to Madagascar because we have 80% of the orchid species in the world. We have also small animals, lemurs and others, but we don't have zebra, we don't have lion, we don't have hippopotamus, but maybe they are still swimming from the New York Zoo. The Catholic Church came to Madagascar more than 200 years ago, and this was no easy task for missionaries to bring the gospel of Jesus to a people who had never heard of him. But through their zeal, the church was implanted today and continues to grow with the dedicated work of missionaries and religious from different countries. The La Salette missionaries were among the first to bring the gospel of Jesus to my ancestors. Today, about 25% of the population is Catholic, with another 25 to 35% belonging to other Christian denominations, and less than 5% is Muslim. And the rest, they are enemies, people who believe in the spirit which animates the whole nature. And this was also the religion of Michalczyk before they learned about Christ. So the first challenge for the church in Madagascar was and still is the first evangelization, preaching the gospel to people who have never heard of Christ. Therefore, preaching the gospel, the good news, is the first duty of the church and all missionaries. They reach out to people no matter where they live. Some live in the large cities and towns, but many of them live in small villages far from the cities. And we don't have a good highway system like here in the United States, so it takes time to reach them. When I was working in Madagascar, I used to work in a parish where we were 2 priests, and we had 25 churches, mission churches, and we try to visit them once a month. And sometimes for 10 miles, it will take you more than 2-3 hours to reach there. But those difficulties of distance and the difficulties of travel don't stop zealous priests and religious from implanting the faith and organizing small faith communities and building churches in those lost corners in the world. One of the major elements that can destroy poverty is education. We are convinced that we need to invest in education, and therefore education is our major preoccupation. By education, I mean not only schools for children and youth, but catechism and teaching about hygiene. So many children die each year in Madagascar because of a lack of hygiene, and many of them die before their second birthday. So clean water, for example, is water is an essential element in hygiene, and very often no clean water is to be found. So providing them with clean water and teaching them how to use it is a primary concern for healthcare. We do a lot of well projects in Madagascar in my congregation, and we teach people. We help them digging boreholes and teach them how to use clean water for their health. The church works a lot for the sick by providing primary care and by building and running dispensaries, which are small clinics for the poor, especially for those in the distant bush countries. In the parish where I was working in Madagascar, we used to have a small clinic, and one afternoon, a sister who ran the clinic came to me, and she asked me if I was available to take a lady who had a complicated labor because they couldn't take care of her at the clinic. So I took the mission car and drove the lady and some of her families to the next town where there was a bigger hospital. And fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, maybe because of the roads, she delivered in the car. So as a priest, you are expected to be a primary care provider, to be an ambulance driver, and sometimes to be a nurse as well. And but fortunately, the baby and the mother were safe. The population in Madagascar is very young. You'll be surprised if I tell you that about half of the population is between 13 and 25 years old. So the same is true for the church. This assembly is one of the youngest assembly I saw in the United States. So it gives me a good feeling to see these young faces, especially to see those seminarians. But in Madagascar, we have a very young assembly, and the same is true for the church. But those young people need special care and education if the future of the church and the country is to be assured. That is why we spend a lot of time, energy, and resources on schools. One of the problems that I would like to share with you today is the formation of candidates for the priesthood. I'm glad you are here today. Because of poverty, most parents cannot pay tuition for their sons who want to become a priest. So either they succeed in finding someone to help them, or their vocation is lost. Now, when a young man shows signs of a real vocation, our La Salette congregation, for example, must pay almost all his tuition. My own life is a perfect example of this. More than 40 years ago, it was in 1984, I approached Father Donald Pelletier. He is a La Salette priest from America, and I spoke my desire to become a priest. At that time, he was my pastor, but later he became the bishop of the diocese. And he wanted to send me to a diocesan seminary, which was 600 miles away from my hometown. And the country was in a very bad economic turmoil at that time. And when my parents could pay for neither my trip nor my seminary tuition, I had been studying in the local free public high school at that time. And there was an even greater problem. Fortunately or unfortunately, now I am not a diocesan, unfortunately maybe, or the seminary couldn't accept me. Not that I was a bad boy, but because of limited space. So Father Donald asked me if I would be interested in joining the La Salette community. So after several days of prayers and reflections, I decided that yes, I would be glad to enter the La Salette Seminary. So I applied and was accepted. For the next 12 years, I was able to pursue my vocation, to study, and to prepare myself for the ministry of priesthood. I remember during those seminary years, my seminary years, wearing clothes that had been sent by people like you from the United States. And those T-shirts with University of this, University of that. And, we didn't know them. And Madagascar, we don't speak English in Madagascar, we speak French. And so I remember also wearing those, using those pen. I don't see them around anymore, but the triangle pen for advertisement with English. We didn't know what they meant, but just we used them, and we were very proud. And yeah, you like this. I used to wear baseball caps, and we don't play baseball in Madagascar, and we don't know what the letters on the baseball cap meant, like C's and B's and STLs and A's. But I wore them all. And when I came to the United States, I told the story to my friends, my brothers in the community, that I used to wear a Yankees cap. And he told me, you committed a mortal sin. He happened to be from Boston. So my first real contact with the United States came from those things that I wore, that I used during my seminary years, especially from the containers from which I picked them up, on which were written from the La Salette Mission Office, 4650 South Broadway, St. Louis, Missouri, 63111-1308, USA. And little did I think that one day I would live there. In fact, on Friday, I just drove from that address to come here for this mission appeal. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you as member of the church in America. You are so generous for the mission. I am here today because of you. And I would like also to renew my appeal to ask for your help and your generosity for the mission. Because of your help, many people in Madagascar and in the world will know more about Jesus Christ. Many children will go to school. Many people will have clean and hygienic water, and of course they will have better health. And many candidates will have tuition for their seminary studies, and who knows, they may become missionaries later. So we'll have a second collection today, and I thank you for what you have done and what you are going to do for the mission. Thank you very much.